We'll go through the definition, the types of nevus, and the morphology of three important types of nevus: intradermal nevus, compound nevus, and junctional nevus, which we will be talking today. All of us know moles. Okay, in layman terms, we call it moles. They are melanocytic nevi. Okay, they are. Can you please mute your mics? Melanocytic nevi, also known as moles, commonly are localized benign neoplastic proliferations of melanocytes. They are the benign neoplastic proliferations of melanocytes within the epidermis, means skin, okay, and often subsequently extends into the dermis, and usually present as a small, symmetrical, well circumscribed hyperpigmented macule or papule. You should be very clear with this definition. Melanocytic nevi or moles are localized. They are localized, not generalized. Okay, a person might have multiple moles or nevi in his body, but they are not generalized. They are localized, and they are benign neoplastic proliferation of melanocytes. Melanocytes are those things where the melanin pigment will be there and it gives color to our skin. Okay, if there is benign neoplastic proliferation of these melanocytes within the epidermis of the skin, and with time it extends into the dermis just below the epidermis, okay, that is melanocytic nevi, and they usually present as a small, symmetrical, well circumscribed hyperpigmented macule or papule. Okay, macule is just change in color which is not elevated, and papule is slightly elevated lesion in the skin. And in most cases, these melanocytic nevi are caused by acquired activating mutations in components of the RAS signaling pathway. In neoplasia, you must have studied the RAS. Okay. These are the types of the nevus. You should know the names. There are 5 major types of nevus. Actually, there are many classification systems, and this is the most widely used classification. Okay, congenital nevus, blue nevus, and Spies nevus is there. According to the type of the cells present in that nevus, okay, spindle cells and epithelioid cells will be there, also known as Spies nevus. Halo nevus is there, and the fifth one is dysplastic nevus. Okay, congenital nevus, blue nevus, Spies nevus, halo nevus, and dysplastic nevus. But which is very important for us is the types of the nevus according to the morphology. No matter, you should know these types. Okay, you should know the names of these types of nevus. If anyone asks what are the types of nevus, you should at first tell there are 5 types. Basically, there are 5 types of nevus, which are congenital nevus, blue nevus, Spies nevus, halo nevus, and dysplastic nevus. But according to the morphology, we can classify nevus as junctional nevus, compound nevus, and intradermal nevus. Okay, this is according to the morphology and maturation sequence of the nevus cells. Okay, this is very, very important. Junctional nevus, compound nevus, and intradermal nevus. We will be talking about this later on in detail. Very briefly through the types of these nevus. Okay, we'll go very briefly. Congenital nevus means obviously it is present at birth, and the there is presence of deep dermal lesion and sometimes subcutaneous growth around the adnexa, neurovascular bundles, and the blood vessels. And the morphology of this nevus is same as that of the ordinary nevi. And the large variants of these congenital nevus have large variant of these nevus, they have increased risks of transformation to the malignant counterpart of nevus, which is the malignant melanoma. Okay, this is just a thing which we are concerned about. Okay, otherwise mold does not do any harm to your body. The only one thing which we are concerned is its risk for the transformation to malignant melanoma. Okay. Next is blue nevus. Obviously, according to the name, it should be blue. So it will be a black blue nodule, often confused with melanoma clinically. But there are many things from which we can say that this is just a nevus and not a malignant melanoma. There will be non-nested dermal infiltration of the nevus cells, okay, and often with associated fibrosis. And in cytology, we can see heavily pigmented nevus cells will be there in these tumor cells. Okay, heavily pigmented nevus cells are the tumor cells of this blue nevus. Next is Spitz nevus. This is common in children and adolescents as this is common in children and adolescents. Okay, there will be presence of red pink nodules, often confused with hemangioma clinically, and as the name suggests, there will be fascicular growth with large plum cells with pink blue cytoplasm. Okay, and there will be spindle cells and epithelial cells will also be there, and fusiform cells will be there. Okay, and due to the presence of these large plum cells, okay, and fusiform cells, they might sometimes simulate melanoma, but it is actually not a melanoma. It is a benign nevus. So it is very, very essential to know that it is a benign entity and not a melanoma. Next is halo nevus. The halo nevus, the morphology is identical to the ordinary acquired nevi, but just that there is lymphocytic infiltration surrounding the nevus cells, which is the host immune response against the nevus cells and surrounding normal melanocytes. Okay, halo nevus will be same as that of the ordinary acquired nevi, but there will be lymphocytic infiltration surrounding the nevus cells. Okay, that is the host immune response against the nevus cells and the normal melanocytes. The next is dysplastic nevus. The only thing which we are concerned here in dysplastic nevi is there. It is a potential marker or precursor of melanoma, and these dysplastic nevi, they have cytological atypia will be there. Cytological atypia will be there with coalescent intraepidermal nest of melanocytes. Okay, so these things I have kept together in a table. Okay, the congenital nevus, blue nevus, Spitz nevus, halo nevus, and dysplastic nevus. This is present in this you can see in Robbins pathology. Okay, you can go through this table. Now briefly about the pathogenesis of the nevus. Initially also we talked about the RAS mutation. Okay, there will be activation of the RAS and more specifically NRAS. Okay, or the BRAF. There will be activating mutation of the RAS and BRAF or the BRAF. Okay, and there will be stimulation of the growth through the MAPK pathway or mitogen activated protein kinase pathway. Now we know that many tumors associated with the RAS mutation or activation mutation of the RAS are malignant. But why here in nevi they are benign? Okay, because although there is initially the RAS or the BRAF mutation, okay, and there is a growth stimulation through the MAPK pathway, but later on there will be a permanent growth arrest of these melanoma of these nevus cells. Okay, later on these are the benign entity. Nevi are benign, they are not malignant. I hope you know what is the difference between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor. Okay, you should be very clear with that. And this is nevus which we are talking today is a benign thing. It is not malignant, and we are very concerned about the transformation, about the possibility of the transformation of this nevus to malignant melanoma. And as we talked, dysplastic nevi have a little increased possibility of going towards the melanoma. Okay, although that is less, but slightly more than that of the ordinary melanocytic nevi. Okay, so here there is a acquired mutations of the NRAS or the BRAF. Okay, through the MAPK pathway there is growth stimulation. Okay, but later on there is permanent growth arrest or senescence of the tumor cells. Okay, of the nevus cells, which is mediated by the P16 INK4A and encoded by CDKN2A. You know this. Okay, so what happens is there is RAS mutation or BRAF mutation, which is the activating mutation. When there is activating mutation, then there will be growth stimulation through the mitogen activated protein kinase pathway. Okay, there will be growth stimulation. So whenever there is any signal for growth stimulation, then there will be proliferation of the cell. So in this particular thing, there will be proliferation of the nevus cells. Okay, but later on there will be permanent growth arrest or senescence, so that they won't turn to the malignant melanoma. So just to show you that the RAS is involved, okay, and it will activate transcription, okay, through the MAPK pathway. So let's go to the morphology of nevus. Okay, usually they are tan to brown. If you have any nevus in any part of your body, you can just correlate it with that. Okay, I know that we all have nevus, one or multiple nevus in our body. They are tan, dark to brown. Okay, they are uniformly pigmented. This is very, very important. Okay, they are uniformly pigmented generally. Okay, but some of the dysplastic nevi, which we'll talk later, they might be slightly ununiformly pigmented, but as a whole, commonly they are uniformly pigmented, and they are small, usually less than 5 to 6 millimeter across. Okay, they should not be, the maximum diameter should not be more than 6 millimeter. Okay, usually. And they are relatively flat macules or elevated papules. Okay, they are relatively flat macules. Macules mean they are not elevated, or they might be slightly elevated papules, but they have a well-defined and rounded borders. They have a well-defined borders, which is a characteristic of a benign tumor. They have well-defined rounded borders. Here we have talked about they are relatively flat macules or elevated papules. Okay. Here the compound and intradermal nevi are more elevated than the junctional nevi. The junctional nevi are relatively flat macules, whereas the compound and the intradermal nevi are more elevated. Here you can see this is almost not elevated. Okay, this is a hyperpigmented with well-defined borders. Again, this is the same thing. Okay, here it is elevated, slightly larger and elevated. Okay, so these are nevus. Here you can see an example of blue nevus. Okay, you can see these are tan brown in color. Okay, but this one is with bluish hue, so this is a blue nevus. These nevus, they might become more prominent during the pregnancy, indicating a degree of hormone sensitivity. And these nevi are thought to progress through a series of morphological changes over time, which we are talking now. Okay, so here you can see normal skin. Okay, in A, this figure, this is the normal skin with the epidermis. Okay, and here are normal melanocytes. Okay, these melanocytes are used to color our skin. This gives rise to melanin pigment. Okay, there will be these melanocytes will harbor the melanin pigment, which will give rise to our skin color. Okay, obviously, if it is an, for example, African race, then the melanocytes will be more in number. Okay, if it is the white population, then the melanocytes will be lesser in number. Okay, here you can see increase in melanocytes. Okay, but it is present in the junction between the epidermis and the dermis. So this is a junctional nevus. Here you can see there are the similar type of nevus cells. Okay, nevus cells in the junction between the epidermis and the dermis, and also in the dermis. So this is the compound nevus. Okay, and here you can see there are no nevus cells in the epidermis, but they are present in the dermis. Okay, and later on here these nevus cells are transforming themselves into spindle shaped cells. Okay, so this is the transition. With time whenever there is a nevus, okay, with time they acquire these features. Initially it will be a junctional nevus. Okay, in the junction between the epidermis and the dermis, then there will be compound nevus, then there will be dermal or intradermal nevus, and then there will be neurotization. Okay, the same thing again, junctional nevus in the junction between the dermis and epidermis. Okay, compound nevus, and this figure is better than this one. Again the same thing. Here you can see there are three types of nevus. This one is junctional, this one is compound and intradermal nevus. Here you can see the nevus cells, which are the tumor cells here. They are present only in the epidermis and junction of the dermis and epidermis. They are generally non-elevated, only macule, whereas compound nevus, they are present, the tumor cells are present in the epidermis and the dermis, so they are known as compound. Compound means present, the tumor cells are present in both the sides, the epidermis and the dermis. Okay, this is, and these lesions are slightly elevated, often dome shaped papule. Papule means slightly elevated. Okay, whereas intradermal nevus, you can see here the tumor cells are present only in the dermis and not in the epidermis. So with time there is a transition. Initially they will be junctional nevus, then they will be compound nevus, and later on they will be the older lesions will be intradermal nevus, and these intradermal nevus will be more elevated than the compound nevus. So you can see here also another example, junctional nevus. This is just a macule which has a regular, well circumscribed, hyperpigmented macule. This is a junctional nevus. Here you can see intradermal nevus, which is more elevated than the compound nevus. However, the color is tan brown, and all of these have a very well defined border, so which suggests that it is a benign lesion rather than a malignant lesion. And they have a uniform color. If you see, in all three of these, the color is uniform, although that is different and hyperpigmented than the surrounding skin, but they have the uniform color. So this is a benign lesion and is a nevus. Now let's go to the morphology of junctional nevus. So we know that according to the transition which we have told, junctional nevus or nevi should be the earliest lesion, where we can see aggregates of nest of round cells that grow along the dermo-epidermal junction. That's why it is known as junctional nevi. Okay. The nucleus of these nevus cells, they will have uniform and they will be uniform and rounded in contour, and they might contain inconspicuous nucleoli. You must have known the differences between a benign tumor and a malignant tumor in respect to the nucleus. Okay, the nucleus in benign tumors, they have a uniform and rounded appearance, whereas they will be irregular in case of malignant tumor. So till now we were talking about the clinical features or the gross features. Now we are talking about the microscopy. Okay, there will be aggregates of nest of tumor cells, which are the nevus cells, which are round cells that grow along the dermo-epidermal junction. So this is a must for it to call a junctional nevi. There should be tumor cells in the dermo-epidermal junction, and these tumor cells or the nevus cells should have uniform nuclei which have rounded, well-defined contour, and they might contain inconspicuous nucleoli, and there will be varying amount of melanin granules seen in the nevus cells. Mostly there are melanin granules, but there might not be melanin granules also, and there will be mostly there will be no mitotic activity, and or there might be very little mitotic activity. So you can see here, this is the skin with epidermis and dermis. Are you understanding till now?
Yes, sir.
That means you all are following me, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any problem till now?
No, sir.
This is the skin okay, with epidermis and dermis. Yesterday also we had talked about, means previous lecture also we had talked about the normal histology of the skin, where you can see the corneum layer. Okay, this is the epidermis with the basal layer. Okay, and the dermis with fibrocollagenous connective tissue and all the other annexary structures, blood vessels, and all these things. Here you can see normally the melanocytes are present in the basal layer, intermingled with the basal cells. Okay, here you can see nest of nevus cells. Here you can see nest of nevus cells, which can be seen in the dermoepidermal junction as a nest. It is just dropping into the dermis, okay, but it is in continuity with the epidermis. So this is a junctional nevus. Can you please mute your mics? So this is a skin with epidermis and dermis, and in the dermoepidermal junction, okay, this one, and this one, okay, you can see a nest of tumor cells arising in the dermoepidermal junction and is in continuity with the epidermis, although it is slightly budding towards the dermis. So there is a continuity of the tumor cells nest with the epidermis. So this is a, and you can see here there is a uniformity, round cells with well-defined nuclear border, okay, and uniform nuclei. So these are nevus cells, benign cells, and this is a junctional nevus.
Nucleus of these nerves around the dermal junction.
Can you please mute your mics? Now let's go to compound nevi. Now most of the junctional nevi eventually grow into the underlying dermis as nest and cords of cells to form the compound nevi. So with time, the junctional nevi eventually will grow into the underlying dermis as a nest and cords of cells to form the compound nevi. And the tumor cells will be same as that of the which we had seen in the junctional nevi. But here you can see a morphological variation, characteristic morphological variations of the tumor cells will be there according to the depth of the dermis. Okay, nevus cells in the upper, middle, and lower dermis will have a characteristic morphological variations. They are known as type A, type B, and type C. Type C cells. Here you can see in the uppermost or the junctional area or the uppermost part of the dermis. Here you can see the type A cells, which are the larger cells. They are round to cuboidal and they have abundant cytoplasm containing varying amount of melanin granules. So they tend to form nests. Okay, if you see any compound nevus where the tumor cells are present in the junction or the dermis, the uppermost part, if you see, you will find type A cells, which are the larger round to cuboidal cells having abundant cytoplasm containing varying amount of melanin granules, and they tend to form nests. As you go down towards the mid dermis, you can find type B cells. which are slightly smaller than the type A cells, and they display less cytoplasm. So if you compare with the type A cells, these cells will be smaller. These cells will be smaller, and the cytoplasm will be lesser than that in the type A cells. And the amount of the melanin will also decrease as you go down, and almost no melanin is seen in the type C cells. Okay. The type B cells again are smaller than the type A cells. They display less cytoplasm and less melanin, and generally lie in well-defined aggregates or cords. They are in aggregates or cords. Here in type A, they were usually in nests. Okay, but here can be in type B, they can be in aggregates. Means nest also can be there, or cords also can be there. Okay, you can see here. Is this picture visible? If you can see,
Yes.
these are the type A cells, which are round or cuboidal, and they have a uniform nuclei. There is no pleomorphism. They have well-defined nuclei, and they have abundant cytoplasm. And melanin pigment can be seen, which are the granular brownish thing. Okay, brownish pigment. I hope you can see this clearly. Whereas if you go towards the mid-dermis or below the junctional area or the upper dermis, okay, here you can see type B cells, which are slightly smaller than the type A cells. They look more like lymphocytes because of their size, and their cytoplasm is also less than that of the type A cells, and the melanin is also less as compared that with the type A cell. Okay, and the lowermost portion, the lowermost dermis, you can see type C cells, where the cells will be elongated and possess a spindle shaped nucleus. So that means they will be spindle shaped. Okay, and they rarely contain melanin. Almost they do not contain melanin. So because of this spindle shaped nucleus, which resemble the nerve cells, this is also known as neurotization. This you should be very clear with this thing, and this is the most important thing which will be asked during your exams and the vivas. Okay, so what is the morphology of the nevus cells? So if it is a junctional nevus, mostly type A cells will be there. If it is a junctional nevus, this you should be very clear. Junctional nevus means this is a nevus, benign tumor, okay, where there will be a nest of the nevus cells, which are the tumor cells, will be present in the dermo-epidermal junction in continuity with the epidermis. And the tumor cells here will be mostly type A, which will be round to cuboidal. And after some time, okay, these nevus cells, which are the tumor cells, they will also gain access to will grow into the underlying dermis. Then they are known as, these nevus are known as compound nevus. And in compound nevus, we have talked about the transition of the cells, type A cells, type B cells, and type C cells. I hope you are clear with this. This change or metamorphosis from the type A to type C cells are due to the enzymatic changes, where the progressive loss of tyrosinase activity will be there, and there will be acquisition of the cholinesterase activity in the deeper non-pigmented knob-like cells. And this gradual change from type A to type C cells is very, very important in distinguishing the benign nevi from the melanomas. Here, which we see the gradual change from type A to type C cells, this will be absent in case of melanoma. So here you can see the nest of the tumor cells or the nevus cells here in the junction between the dermoepidermal junction and also the dermis. Okay, so this is a compound nevus. So you can also see that they are uniform tumor cells. They do not show any pleomorphism, and whatever cells you can see, they are uniform and they have well circumscribed, very uniform nuclei. And you can see more melanin in the upper part. Okay, they are in nests in the upper dermis or the junction. Whereas if you go downwards, then the melanin is less. This is because of the transition of the cells from type A to the type C. Here at the bottom of the dermis, okay, bottom of the tumor cells, they are transforming into the spindle-shaped cells. Here they are the largest at the top. But as you go down, the size of the cells will be smaller. And towards the lower part of the tumor cells are quite spindled. Some of them are spindled. Okay, this can be the transition from the type A, type B to the type C type of cells. The intradermal nevus, they are the older lesions, and the epidermal nest may be lost entirely to form the pure intradermal nevi. And the cell morphology will be same as that of the junctional or the compound nevi, and the gradual transition of the type A, type B and type C cells will also be present in this intradermal nevi. So you can see here in the epidermis and the junction there is no tumor cells, and the nevus cells, which are the tumor cells, are present entirely in the dermis. And you can see the transition also from round to epithelioid cells, okay, cuboidal cells, okay, with abundant cytoplasm. And if you go towards the mid dermis, then they are smaller than that of the cells in the upper part of the dermis. And as you go down, there is slightly spindling. Spindling will start. And there here you can see some multinucleated giant cells also. So we are concerned about the melanocytic nevi, about only the possible transformation to the malignant melanoma. And very less commonly we are concerned about the cosmetic concern. Okay, otherwise we are concerned about their biological potential for the transformation to malignant melanoma. Earlier also we had talked about the dysplastic nevus. Okay, we have finished the melanocytic nevus. Now we are slightly more concerned about the dysplastic nevus because they might be direct precursors of the melanoma. We are concerned about these dysplastic nevi because they are direct precursors of melanoma. You must not know each and everything about this dysplastic nevus, but you should just know that these dysplastic nevus has an increased chances of going to malignant melanoma than the ordinary melanocytic nevi. Here I have kept the pathogenesis. If you want to go through this, you can go through this. Otherwise, if you see the morphology, they are larger than the acquired nevi. They will be larger than 5 millimeter across. Okay, and there may be number in hundreds in those with. Okay, leave this. There will be flat macros, slightly raised plaques with a target-like lesions. Okay, target-like lesions means darker raised center and irregular flat periphery will be there. If you can see here, here is a darker center with slightly lighter irregular periphery will be there. So this is the target lesions. Okay, the target light lesions are these ones. So these are the dysplastic nevus. And in microscopy, they will exhibit architectural and cytologic atypia. They will exhibit architectural and cytological atypia. Okay, atypia, slight atypia will be there in forms of nuclear enlargement, irregularity. They will often be angulated. There will be irregular nuclear contours and slight hyperchromasia can be there. So you should know that dysplastic nevus means dysplastic features will be there with atypia, okay, cytological atypia in forms of nuclear enlargement, irregularity, and irregular nuclear contour and hyperchromasia will be there as seen here. Okay, try to compare this with the melanocytic nevi, okay, of the ordinary type, where you can see here also you can see these are not uniform. There is slightly hyperchromasia of the tumor cells and there is cytological, mild form of cytological atypia is there. Okay, so this is dysplastic nevi. Nothing you should know about the dysplastic nevi more than this. So this is the end of today's lecture. If any questions, then we can discuss.
Sir, can you please explain the concerns of melanocytic again?
I couldn't hear you properly. Please, can you repeat?
Sir, can you please explain the concerns of melanocytic nevus?
What of melanocytic nevus?
Why is it less common in the cosmetic concern?
No, I think you misunderstood me. It is sometimes it is of cosmetic concern, okay, but more we are concerned about is transformation towards the malignant melanoma.
Yes, sir.
If you have a mole in your face, that doesn't matter much, but it matters if it changes to a malignant melanoma. That was what I was trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Sir, once more. Only in the case of compound nevus, does this type A, type B, and type C occurs?
Yes.
So, how can you say that if this melanocytic nevus has converted to malignant one, how can the cells get concerned with it?
Okay, so you are trying to know how can you know that melanoma is transforming, the nevus is transforming into a malignant lesion, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this we'll be talking about tomorrow in malignant melanoma. Okay, what will be the differences that we see in a benign nevus and what we see in malignant melanoma? There are many differences and there are many features by which you know that the tumor is malignant. You can see pleomorphism, you can see mitotic figures, and you can see clinically also when you see there will be irregularity of the lesion, there will be variegated appearance of the lesion, asymmetry will be there. Okay, many things are there. This is our long topic. We will be discussing that tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir?
Yes.
So what's adnexia?
Sorry?
What is adnexia?
It is not adnexia, it is adnexa. Okay. Adnexal structures means the previous lecture also we had talked about that all the adnexal structures of the skin like sebaceous glands, sweat glands, sometimes apocrine glands, and hair follicles. These are all adnexal structures. In shortly, we call it adnexa. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? If any confusion, we still have 6 more minutes. Okay, 71 of you are here. Okay, then if you don't have any questions, then thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We'll meet in the next lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.